On your left, Jack and Cannon. Second to left, Brian Von Bargen, Josh Byrne, Coach Tierney, if you'd open up with a comment on tonight's game.
Yeah. The opening comment is, I am so proud of the guys in the white jerseys today that I cannot put into words and do it justice. This week, we told them coming back from the University of North Carolina that this week was going to be a huge week for our program. How are we going to handle success? Everybody handles failure really well, but people don't handle success well. They lose attention to detail. They lose the edge. And we were focused for the University of North Carolina. Yesterday at team meal, after team meal, I had mentioned to the guys that I wish our last practice was a little bit more focused. And I don't know if it had anything to do with it. We didn't get off to a great start. They were a little bit more focused than us. But it did trigger something inside of us. And to get a win like that, to go up and back, and to gut out a win like that, and to trust each other, that we got staggered, they got staggered, and it was two heavyweights just throwing punches at each other. Credit Princeton, they are one heck of a lacrosse team. We haven't beaten those guys in 4 years, and we are certainly happy to break that streak. And there's a lot of guys to credit that aren't sitting at this table. Certainly these three guys stood out, but my hat goes off to Chris Bates and the Princeton Tigers. That's one heck of a lacrosse game, and they're one heck of a lacrosse team.
Josh, for you, 5 goals today, and after your 6-point performance against UNC, how has this start for you been here at Hofstra?
Obviously, I'm very lucky with the guys around me. They feed off me a lot, and they give me the ball a lot, so it ends up pretty well. But at the same time, the guys around me just really get me the ball.
Coach, just talking about his performance, have you ever seen a transition like that from junior college to D1 just seamless like this?
There hasn't been many, and again, it's only 2 games, so we've got a small little test sample right now, and I'm awfully proud of Josh. I am. This isn't wrestling. There's other guys out there that are making it happen, and today, when we picked up the ground ball and we made that pass, we told the guys in the huddle, if it's a break, we're going to let them play. I mean, Sam Linares, Josh Byrne, and Trevor Kopecky are down there. What are we going to pull the ball out and call a timeout for? And the ball ended up, Tanner Griffin was, I don't know if he was about to shoot it, but Tanner made a good decision, and he threw it to number 42. And number 42 he's used to shooting on goals that are 4 feet by 4 feet, not 6 feet by 6 feet. And so when he has the ball in his stick with his hands free, there's a good chance it's going to go in.
Josh, what's that feeling like? Sudden death, you win the game, everyone's coming out to the lobby.
It's pretty great, mostly just because you know how hard the guys work all over the week, up through the whole entire year. I think that all this hard work comes down to maybe one play, and all of a sudden you see the smiles on everybody's faces. It's a pretty amazing feeling.
Brian, for you, to see this game past few years against Princeton not go your way, to get it tonight or today, what was going through your head?
I mean, obviously it started off rocky, for me at least, and I got to give credit to the whole team, especially the guys on the sideline, like telling me to keep going, keep my head up, and just stay in the game. And like Coach G said, we haven't beaten them in 4 years, and for myself and the fellow seniors, it's a great feeling to finally get that win under our belt.
Coach and Jack, question for both of you guys. It seemed 2 or 3 key sequences in the game was at the end of the second, third, and fourth quarter. You guys were able to stop Princeton when they had the last possession. Just talk about that, those last sequences, and what goes into those as the pressure's mounting in each quarter with them trying to either tie the game or take the lead in those sequences.
Well, I'll speak, and Jack will finish it up. They're a tough team to handle because there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of picks, there's a lot of switches. So anytime that happens, it changes your game plan in a second, right? You have a short stick covering the ball, now you got a long stick covering the ball, now it's back to a short stick. And they grinded out a bunch of offensive possessions that really tired us down. And that put us in a little bit of a tough spot. Do we hit the gas pedal on offense, or do we have the ball to get those guys a little bit of air? When on Brian's goal, we broke the huddle. We said there's too much time for us to not have the ball I think we were up 1 at that point in time, and we said, we're dodging. And Brian stuck one in the corner, and, that gave us a 2-goal cushion. We thought that was going to be, maybe that was going to be enough, but that's where you have to credit, you credit Princeton. But during those flurries that you're talking about, Jack, he had 15 saves today. I get that the guy to my right scored the game winner. The guy down the end there, he prevented the game winner 15 times. And that cannot go unspoken of in your articles. He had one hell of a game. That's 2 games in a row.
Like Coach said, with the game plan, we started off slow, and we knew as a defense and as a team we had to come together and figure out what they were doing different than what we came out expecting them to do. So I know, speaking as a defense, we came together, we talked what we were doing, and we figured out what we had to change, and we moved forward from that.
Jack, for yourself coming into the season as the starter after playing last season for a few games, what was your mentality? How are you preparing for this game, especially the tough task of both North Carolina and Princeton to start?
I gotta say again, it's really a team effort with the defense in the film room. I mean, that's huge. We go in the film room a few times a week, and when we're in there, we're locked in. We're looking at what we got to do, and slides, switching, staying, and I got to give credit to the defense on really just helping me out.
Coach, you said before the game that it would be a battle in the midfield. Zach Currier on the Toraton watch list. You knew it would be a big game in the midfield, and then Currier, not too many opportunities. Just talk about how the midfield and the defense really stood up to the task.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, Zach Curry, he deserves to be on the 4-ton list. I don't coach that young man. I did grab him after the game, and I told him, what I thought of his performance, and he's the heart of Princeton. There's no getting around it. Zach Curry was all over our game plan. He's on the wings of face-offs. He's facing off. At one point in time, Chris Clark is winning the ball, but we got Zach Curry there, so Chris is picking it up, and he's like a blanket. He's all over, he's all over Chris Clark. So he's there clearing the ball. He's creating a little bit in a 2-man game. That guy, he never ran out of energy today.
Ryan, you guys had a lot of close losses last season. Here, your first close game, you pull it out. Why is it going to be different this year?
I just think the preparation and the heart we put into working. The scout guys test the defense every day, and the scout defense tests us every day and get us prepared. And it's really a team effort on both ends of the ball. And I just think that you gotta want it, and everyone's bought in, and I think that's the difference.
Coach, you talked about the pride that you have in this team right now. Coming in from last season, there was a lot of speculation, not really sure what to expect without the rope unit back and without Selva and without Malave. How does it really feel to know that the guys that you have, that you trusted in, are getting the job done in the first couple of games of the season against very tough opponents?
Those guys from last year they have touched this team as well. You know what I mean? The things that these guys on this year's team that have learned from them, even though they're not in the locker room with us, they're with us. They've taught us a bunch of lessons, those guys that have left and moved on. Inside the locker room last year, there was an awful lot of pride. There was. I know we were 5-9. I know it more than just about anybody. There was a summer of not sleeping, and it's just not what we are. There was a bunch of people that thought that we were the number 40th team in the country, and that hurt. It hurt a little bit, and all those things have fueled our fire. We're still the 40th team in the country, and we've got a game here at Shewitt Stadium on Tuesday, and we have to go out and we got to prepare, and we have to prove to everyone else that maybe we're a little bit better than the 40th team in the country.
Coach, the hustle was again dominating on the ground balls. You got to be proud of that 45-28.
Yeah, plus 17 on the ground balls. We've made that the Hofstra, the Hofstra stat right now. And again, when you look at the ground ball stat, you automatically look at the face-off stat. We're plus 5 at the face-off, but we're plus 17 at ground balls. So there's 12 ground balls that did not take place at the face-off that we beat Princeton to, and that a ground ball, Brendan Lynch picking up a ground ball in overtime. That was one of the ground balls. They're all huge, and you don't know where that one is going to get picked up, whether it's in overtime or if this game doesn't go to overtime, it would have happened somewhere in the fourth quarter or the first quarter. And we, I'm proud of them. That's an effort. That's a desire award. That's a stat, like a tip ball. That's a big time stat.
9 of those ground balls from Finn Sullivan. I guess, Jack, you can comment on this. His performance today with a handful of incredibly skilled attackmen in front of you. Just talk about Finn's performance.
Yeah, I mean, Finn has been an unbelievable leader this year. He's a hard-nosed guy from Boston. He just plays with an edge. And for him to pick up 9 ground balls, basically the offense should thank him for 9 opportunities to play offense and end possessions and bring it down there. Now again, we turned over too many in the clearing game. We got to clean that up, and we'll make an effort to do that, and along with some other things. But you know, Finn Sullivan could just as well be sitting at this table. 9 ground balls, 15 saves, 5 goals, a big goal. Everything is, you know, the credit goes to these guys.
Coach said Finn's a leader. Any game you put him in, he's going to give everything he has to the last whistle, and that's what he did today. He went out there, gave it his all, and very relevant.
Okay, how frustrating was it that in that end of the fourth quarter where your guys are up 2 with 6 minutes left, and then you give up a couple there and go to overtime?
We stopped giving up those 2 in the fourth. You know, we had the momentum, and then to give those up, we lost it a little bit, but didn't give up faith. I knew that we were going to still dig in deep, like we've always been working on for the whole year. That's our pride, you know. Overtime, going in, giving everything we have, and that's just what we did.
Coach, were you surprised that Coach Bates didn't call a timeout at the end of the game in the last 30 seconds?
You know, it's been a big topic of conversation. You know, do you or don't you? He knew that we were tired. He was right. You know, we were tired. You know, Jack just alluded to it. We had some short sticks that were blowing, and our 2-man game was starting to get a little bit loose when we worked on it all week. But we were starting, you know, those guys are big, strong animals to handle. 14 getting his left hand. Those guys are tough. And then, you know, again, we talked about it in the huddle. Are we going to call a timeout if we won the faceoff? If, you know, Tanner Griffin, a long stick, has the ball in our box, and I'm holding, and there's a referee standing next to me. You know, again, I trust Tanner. That, you know, one of the assistant coaches looking at me, you know, he made the right play, and the ball ended up in one of our attackmen's stick and ended up in the back of the goal. And today, it was a good call. Again, we could be sitting in the other way. We told those guys we could be sitting in the other locker room right now if those calls didn't go our way. But there's a reason why it went our way. Attention to detail, trust, and a little pride in our guys. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Good luck.